Hello and welcome to yet another edition of The Focal Point. My name is Bart Kakoza. As I promised last Sunday, in tonight's program, I bring you part 2 of Fred's story together with his colleagues. Later on in the program, we shall see reactions of some of the Pentecostal church leaders on this issue. Just to refresh your memory, part 1 ended with Fred revealing his tragedy to his mother and how his mother went into coma on hearing what happened to her son. When Fred, not his real name, recovered from the shock of his mother's breakdown, he decided to make a follow-up on his case that he had reported to the Human Rights Commission. But when he got there, things had changed.
They cross-checked it. They told me that you disappeared for long. If the thing exceeds 3 to 5 years, we close the file. If the complainant does not appear. I gave an excuse that I had been in prison. I showed all the documents, but they could not see that file. In 2006, as I've told you, I started hearing about Pastor Male. We went to Mr. Triagumana, the regional police commander, and told him about our complaint. And he told us that that case has been mismanaged for so long. He assisted us and he called a certain police officer by the names of Mr. Olwayne, and he started recording our statements, me and in April. First I was coming from Pastor Mali's office. As I was going down to Old Tax Park, a certain car came, a certain saloon car came and parked on my side, and I had people calling my name. As first come, I went up to the car. I thought they were OBs, but when I looked inside, I could not identify these guys. I said, I don't know you. They told me, we are police officers, we want to, you come and we go to the CID headquarters. I said, for what? I disappeared to the new tax park and I boarded a taxi up to Rubaga. These guys came following me. They knew where I sleep and they asked me, wanted to talk to you. I said that if you want a statement, I can write it from here. These people were not happy with my statement, and they told me that you have to come and they tell us more on Monday. Which I said I will come, and they told the landlord, we are not going to detain him, you come with him. The landlord told them that I will come with him. But on Monday I went alone to Isabire's office, I found it closed. And on Tuesday I went there, it was closed. On Wednesday, I went there. And I asked him what was the problem. He told me that you, my young son, you better jump out of this thing. This thing is going to cause you problems. I said it's okay if it causes me problems because I've been in prison for the same thing. He said okay. But this group of guys, when they came back home again, I noticed one who was among the group which came at home. They came and told me, you are under arrest. I told them, who are you? A guy told me that I'm called Kakos Patrick. I'm from CID headquarters. I said, which offense have I done? He told me that threatening violence. You're threatening to kill Pastor. I put my arm there. They handcuffed me and they took me to CPS. But on our way, Pastor called them and they told him that we have the boy. And I left the number at home, a telephone number of Brother Simwe. And I told the landlord's son that you call this guy and inform him whatever has happened. He called him and that guy called Pastor Male. Pastor Male then called Mr. Tuliagumanawe. Mr. Tuliagumanawe called that same guy, Patrick Akosi, when we were at Buganda Road. He told him that the suspect you have, you bring him here first. We went, they removed the handcuffs from the car. They didn't want to show Mr. Tuliagumanawe that he had been on handcuffs. Mr. Tuliagumanawe stood in the doorway as you finished the steps of CPS. And I went ahead. They told me, you move. I bypassed him. They told me, these ones who were coming behind me, you stop there. I stood there. He asked them that, why have you arrested this boy? that he threatening violence. Mr. Ruagumana was very scared. He told them, this is this minor case, you are taking the boy to the cells. He started counseling them. He told them in my presence that you police officers, you better jump out of this cocoon of pastors. Because Mr. Ruagumana, we had already informed him that they forged cases against us. They want to put us behind bars and they are always following us.
So, what did Ruagumana do?
Mr. Ruagumana gave me a bail and I was supposed to report it the next morning on the 18th of July 2006. Then I kept on reporting for about 2 months. But on the 18th of July, I came to report myself. The same police officer told me that your suspect is in the cells down. He was arrested yesterday and he's in the cells down. I went out, I called my family members that the man is in the cells. And I called Mr. Male that Pastor is in the cells. But when I came back up, the same police officers, Mr. Orange, told me that I'm very sorry, I didn't know that the guy was released last night at 8. I told him we released him without informing us. He told me that it was Mr. Sakila. And Mr. Sakila told us it's an order from above. We were puzzled. We sat down with Emma and we wrote a letter to the Inspector General of Police. It was dated 24th August 2006. We took our complaints there. And Mr. Kaihura handed us over to his personal secretary by the names of Mugisha Aman. After 1 week, we could report there and he was he was working on our file. One Monday morning I went alone because my friend Emma lives very far. He lives in Mukono. He could not afford the transport. So I could walk from Lubaga to Chibuli headquarters. When I reached there, I found there another woman that Mr. Haman has been transferred, and the one who replaced him was Asimwe, Annie Asimwe. She started working on our file, and she gave the file to Nakiranda, who is also working under Inspector General of Police. Since then, we've been moving up and down to see that the man is taken to court, but all in vain. In 2007, January, I went to see this police officer. She used to sleep in Alpine Motel, and she could ask me questions in the presence of the worker there who are serving beer, serving sodas. So I was not happy the way she does her things. She was doing her things unprofessionally, and I was feeling ashamed to explain everything in public. So that Madam told me that, have you ever attended any youth conference? I said yes. I was invited and I had to talk to the youth. What happened to me, I had to give my testimony. And she told me that on that day you were recorded and they took your thing to WBS, which we don't want. We don't want even to feature in papers because you are jeopardizing our investigations. You are disturbing us. If you want to be successful, you quit the media. You leave the media. You're disturbing us. I accepted it, and he showed me your thing is going to take about 3 months. But on the 30th of this month, I called her, and she told me she has moved a little bit. There is something simple which is disturbing her. We need to meet.
James, not his real name, is a colleague of Fred. He too was picked from the streets. He proved to be a talented young musician, and his talent was later to be utilized in the church.
I joined as a musician because I do singing, and by then I was playing drums.
Did you remain playing drums in the church?
they decided to take me back to school. I said, fine. I was taken back to school in some school in Chigo called the Cardinal Subuga Memorial College. I would give me a lot of money, like as I'm going back to school. One day, he told me, come, I want you to slash somewhere. When I reached the office, he told me he had some books. There's some men naked and like a man using a man. And the books were there on the table, and he started telling me a lot of things like girls are bad. I've been told you have so many girls in school, but it's very bad. And he started touching me like here, slowly. I was so scared because I had heard from a friend, because he told him the same things, and the boy had to go away. So I got so scared and woke up from the seat where I was, stood on the side. He went to the door and locked it. And he started telling me funny things, touching me. I said, are you really? Because it was a Saturday and tomorrow a Sunday, and he was the one to preach. I asked him, like, are you really the person who is going to be preaching tomorrow? Because of what he was doing. Like, he kind of got so scared and let me go out.
He completely stopped making advances to you again?
Some time back, we were in the holidays. And I don't know how, because that's the house where I was living. But behind there was 2 rooms. Now, I just woke up. I was too dizzy because I used to sleep naked all my days. I was too dizzy, but he was on the bed, like here. And when I woke up, I really got so scared because he was on the bed. He was naked, only in the underpant. Not a boxer, but an underpant, a very small one. He was on the bed. I had a lot of funny food behind. Then I wanted to run because there were 2 beds. Mine was like here. I wanted to run to go out. I jumped from my bed and to the second one, but I was naked. He held me and told me not to go out. He's very strong. He went out, locked me inside, and went. After some time, but I was crying. After some time, he came back with a soda and told me not to say anything. But I had a lot of pain. But it was like something like you've been, I don't know, formed. You're dizzy, like you're kind of drunk. I don't know.
So what followed?
Time came to go back to school. He would give me a lot of money. But when I came back, I went back to school, a problem developed. Like I would go.
So did he keep on doing it to you?
No.
He just did it on the ones to you?
Yeah. But when I went back to school, the problem came, like I would go to toilet and I don't know if it's an intestine or what, but something would come out like of this size. It was really painful. At one point it came out
Go ahead.
came out. Many times I would like get a TP, push it back, force it to go back. Okay, I thought maybe it was a problem that would go. It kept on, and at one point it came out and I tried to push it back, but every time like it would come back, there would be a lot of blood coming out. Then one point it came out and did not go back. I tried to push it, it did not go back. It was really painful. I went to the principal and told him about the problem, and he gave me a pass out. Told me to go. I went home. When I reached home, yeah.
And he asked you?
Oh yeah, I told him, and he rushed it and took me to Mengo Hospital in Roy Billington ward. When I was taken in the theater, the doctor came with chloroform and he asked me if I was like using drugs or drinking, things like those. I told him no. And he asked me a question that, are you also left? That's what he asked me. I didn't know what it meant. But after some time, I asked him like, what do you mean by left? Is it to you, me being using like I'm left-handed or what? He said, okay, if you don't know that, it's okay. And he kept the thing like that. But when I asked afterwards, I was told like people who are homosexuals, they call them that. But so I believe the doctor knew what he was doing because that's their family doctor. They took me in the theater, was operated. But no one, like, my mom never knew, but my mom is there. No one knew. It was really painful for me. And
so your friend Julius came over and stayed with you?
Yeah, because they never wanted to tell like my mom. Yeah. So, and I was living with Julius. We were so many boys at the church. So Julius volunteered to come and take care of me. So he stayed there because all the time I would be like crying. And he asked me what had happened. I told him the truth, what had happened, and like the pastor never wanted me to say anything. We could not, like, he told me because he had told him the same stories, and he told me, we leave this place. We left the place and went away.
Do you think he continued using other boys?
Of course. He must be using them even now, because that's his habit.
So, what was your next step?
What I thought of was to go to someone who could help me. And I went to this soldier, and the soldier took me to police. When they took me to Old Kampala, I was given a police to handle my case called Kalebi, Officer Kalebi. And this guy called because he asked me if I had as contacts. I gave him the phone number. He called him. I don't know what they talked on phone. Then he told me to go back. When I came back the next day, himself was there, plus his dad, a brother to his dad, and he denied everything. Then I went back. When I went back the next day, this guy called me. He called me, was like around 4, to meet him at Old Kampala. I met him there, and I was with a friend we left with. We went opposite Owino Market. He counted, was it 480,000, and he gave us that money and said, do not go to these people again. These people are very connected. Those are the statements he made, and said, if you ever go to these people, they're going to kill you. That's a policeman saying. Now when I went back, people started like coming to my house asking me, like they're asking my landlady where this guy is. Another time, an LDU guy comes to my house with a gun, and they called me. I was in town. They called me, some LDU guy has come here with another man in Leia, but they're looking for you. I did not come back home.
Where did you go?
I have friends in Kenya. I ran to Kenya because I knew that they were the very people who are looking for me. Because some people also were like telling me, those people are very bad, because there are some boy they brought home. They like to look for after the cows, and they did the same thing to this boy, and he started telling everyone about what had happened, and was like planning to sue them. And then he died of poison, and they buried him.
How long did you stay in Kenya?
I stayed in Kenya like for 9 months.
When did you come back?
I came back 2004. Things were okay, but I did not stay in Kampala. I stayed somewhere else, and I stayed there.
Well, why are you telling me your story now? Why do you find it necessary to tell your story to me?
I'm telling this story because I know there are many, even right now I know is living with some other young boys. The same thing that happened to me can happen to anybody else. Yeah? And I'm telling this out because if anything happens to me, if like someone comes and shoots me because I'm not a thief, I want people to know that there will be the people. Yeah? Yeah? Me, I was there.
Do you still go to church?
No. Why? Why should I? Because these are the people I saw my first time worshipping. I knew like heaven was coming on earth. This is a guy who inspired me to get born again.
And he's the same guy.
And he's the same guy who was doing.
Efforts to meet the alleged pastor to hear his side of the story were fruitless. Instead, he referred me to his lawyer. His lawyer summoned me to his chambers and explained on his behalf.
They were generally church boys. Now, one of these boys, could it be Shelby, had a health problem which had dogged him from childhood. He had intestinal products whereby his intestine would tend to get out at given periods of time. Even his parents testified at CID headquarters that he had that problem from childhood. Pastor used to care for them because they were at his home, as well as the church used to contribute to their welfare while at his home. They took them to a doctor at the Nanilembe hospital. That doctor is still alive. I'm forgetting his name. He treated them. They were hoping to operate on them, maybe as a final solution to that medical condition. It was before that operation could be done that they started bringing out these allegations.
So they didn't go to have the operation?
I cannot guarantee on that, but at least I've told you they were supposed to undergo an operation. As to whether it took place or not, I cannot confirm.
Both of them had the same conditions. How coincident was that?
Well, am I to talk about...
No, I'm wondering.
Me as a lawyer, I only talk about...
But both have the same intestinal...
one of them.
But what do other fellow pastors say about these allegations? Pastor Joseph Serwada is one of the most respected pastors in the Pentecostal church. He owns Victory Christian Center Church in Endeavour that has many branches in many parts of the world. While he condemns homosexuality, he says he has not yet proved its existence in the church.
I don't know of these people. I've heard of rumors. I've heard of young men who have come here and said, I've been a victim of this situation personally. And I confronted those pastors, but they've said no. And that's the most I can go. If I confront you, Bert, and you say, no, I don't know what they're saying, this is a lie, that's the most I can go. That's the farthest point.
We tried to go to many pastors to tell them And they were like, no, that is not good. That is going to destroy God's kingdom. Like they were like stopping us to see.
So they are covering up.
They are covering up the real thing.
If it's happening, wherever it is happening, I totally condemn that. I think it's an abomination. It is not scripture. It shouldn't be done. And again, I go back the reason as to why we started the National Fellowship of National Fellowship Born Again Churches. In our movement, you can't do that. Once we hear that we have done it, we have the guy who is in charge of doctrine. We know what to do, and of course, you can't stay with us. But wherever it is happening, it is condemned.
No pastor doesn't know in Uganda that is a homosexual. It's not there.
You mean, are there pastors who are homosexuals? I've never been befriended by one, but I hear out there that there are people who, there are pastors who are not in our church organization, who are not under our fellowship, who are practicing homosexuality.
So what are you doing as church leader?
One, I'm promoting the big weddings, mass weddings.
No, in terms of trying to bring the pastors. Because there are so many young men who have come to me and confessed to me. I've had interviews with them, and they point out specific pastors. They mention their names, and they say they have been molested by them.
You know, by law, homosexuality is a crime. It's just like someone stealing from you. The right place to go to, I would advise, is to go and give it to the police, who would sort out that. And
but
if
if you
people
pray for the thieves, why don't you bring the pastors and pray for them?
Yeah, because the thieves we pray for are the thieves who come to us. We do not go chasing thieves on the roads and
you don't expect the pastor to come to you.
Shouting out.
You don't expect the pastor to come to you and say, I'm homosexual.
Expecting is in the subject of hope. I hope that pastors, even after hearing this interview, who are being challenged sexually by this deviation, may come and we minister to them.
There's a lot of stuff like that comes from other countries, and some people who go out preaching are losing their moral standard by being in true contact with people who believe in such things in other countries.
I've met the doctor who addresses these sodomized young men, sodomized by none other than pastors. I have another one. It's actually a link. It's a problem. It has eaten up it is eating up our churches, and people are looking on. People think these problems are far off in foreign lands, but they are here in our midst. The sad story is the leading pastors who know the problem, because they've been bribed by their colleagues, don't want to speak about it, and they say there is no problem.
Even Bishop Christopher Senyonjo, the advocate for homosexuality tolerance, does not support sodomization of boys by pastors.
I think they are doing something wrong. For that, I cannot compromise on that. And they know in the heart of their hearts that what they are doing is sin.
Interestingly, Bishop Senyonjo insists homosexuality does not contradict the teachings of Christianity. The Church of Uganda has kind of sidelined you.
Yes.
Why?
Because I chose not to condemn directly the homosexuals. I say
it's against Christianity. That's why.
No, it is not. It is not. It is not against the love of God.
But it's against Christianity, the principles of Christianity.
You can't have principles of Christianity without Jesus.
Well, Fred and James are determined to pursue justice at the end of times. They are currently seeking for voluntary legal services. Interested lawyers ready to offer the services can get in touch with Media Plus. The Focal Point intends to return to the issue of homosexuality in Uganda at a later date. For now, that's all we had time for from our Focal Point program. Don't forget to tune in next time for yet another revealing program. I'm Bat Kakoza, wishing you a pleasant evening.